Happy New Comic Book Day, everyone. My name is Greg. John is the man holding the camera, and today we are at Midtown Comics Times Square to give you a look at all the new releases. And there's a very cool release from Marvel, Secret Warriors #1, and we're going to talk to writer Matthew Rosenberg in a little bit about that. First, we're going to look at everything from Dark Horse, DC, IDW Publishing, Image, Valiant, and then we'll get to Marvel. We'll save the interview for last because that'll be good. And before we get to that, though, I do want to let everyone know that starting tomorrow, we will have an in-store Bandai sale. I believe it's 20% off Bandai products, so that's a very cool sale. And also, this Saturday, we have a warehouse sale. You can get up to 80% off everything. I did not misspeak there. Up to 80% off everything. So if you want the info on the warehouse sale, go to our website, go to blog.midtowncomics.com, or keep an eye on our social media pages. We will be sure to drop plenty of reminders about that. Lots of cool stuff going on. And we even have a signing with Matthew Rosenberg this Thursday, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Up first, Dark Horse Comics. There's the first issue of Dragon Age, Knight Errant. There's also Shadows on the Grave #4, and Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook's Harrow County #23. And then when you get into DC, lots of exciting stuff going on from this publisher today. There's Batgirl and the Birds of Prey #10. As you can see, Batgirl, Huntress, and Black Canary. So if you're interested in those characters, you got to be reading this. And over in Batman's world, we have the start of a new story arc in All-Star Batman, which is written by Scott Snyder and features artwork by Raphael Albuquerque. Do I really need to say anything more to sell you on that one? I don't think so. And then we have the League of Shadows still going on over in Detective Comics. James Tynion's been doing some amazing work on this. As you can see on the cover, features a fight with Lady Shiva. I don't want to spoil anything. It does not disappoint. There's plenty of great choreography in there, and there are two great covers. There's also a new chapter of Gotham Academy, second semester, the 9th issue, as well as Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is the second part of a brand new story arc in this comic. I've been really, really enjoying this one. Let me show you the primary cover there. Scott Lobdell has done a great job separating these characters and giving them all a strong story arc, and I'm looking forward to this follow-up. Really enjoying it. There's also a new Young Animal series of Bug, The Adventures of Forager, by the Allreds. Let me give you a preview of their pages because they're always great looking. Just a quick preview. So we're going to move on quickly. There's also Hanna-Barbera, Future Quest #12, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, #20, Planet of the Apes and Green Lantern, a crossover you never thought you'd see, but it's happening, and they're on issue 4 of 6. There's also Injustice, Ground Zero, #11. This is Bridging the Gap. And there's also Injustice 2, #1. That came out last week, the printed edition. It's really, really good. Tom Taylor's back on the title, as well as Bruno Redondo on artwork. I've been really enjoying it a lot. And then there's also Steve Orlando over at Justice League of America, #6. Haven't read this one yet, but it looks like it may be a little more focused on the Ray. There's also Scooby Apocalypse 13 from Young Animal Shade, the Changing Girl, #8. Then we have Suicide Squad #17. That is right, Zod is on the team. Good luck to anyone who stands against this team, because Zod is part of the roster. If you thought Killer Croc was an amazing powerhouse on that team, they've just stepped it up big time. They have a Kryptonian who does not hold back. And then there's also Supergirl, #9, Escape from the Phantom Zone, Part 1, which features Batgirl. There's also Action Comics, 979, with 2 covers there, prominently featuring Cyborg Superman. There's also new Superman, #11, Superwoman, #10, from Phil Jimenez. Oh, excuse me, it looks like he's no longer on the title. My information is dated. And there's also Titans, #11, which is the first chapter of the Lazarus Contract. If you ever read Deathstroke's very first appearance in the new Teen Titans, this is a follow-up to it. And it's also new reader-friendly, though. So you don't have to read Deathstroke's first appearance, but I do recommend it. They cover it adequately, but still, check it out. And then up from DC and Dark Horse Comics, we have some new collections. We have Raven from Marv Wolfman, Last Days of the Justice Society of America. Something tells me we may be seeing these characters later this year. There's also Blue Beetle, Volume 1, Detective Comics, Volume 2, a Mr. Freeze collection, as well as a Tomb Raider collection, and a ginormous He-Man and the Masters of the Universe hardcover. You need the strength of He-Man to lift this thing. Look at that. Or I'm just incredibly weak. It's one or the other. Maybe a mix of both. And then we have Wonder Woman to celebrate Wonder Woman Wednesday, Wonder Woman 22. Really looking forward to that movie. And there's 2 great covers. Then from Boom Studios, we have Grass Kings. And then we get into Dynamite. We have Red Rising, Sons of Ares. And then over at Valiant Comics, we have Eternal Warrior Awakening, #1. And then we get into IDW Publishing. They have a lot of franchises going on. They have Back to the Future 19, the Batman and Ninja Turtles Animated Adventures, #6. This is a crossover between the Kevin Conroy version of Batman and the current animated Ninja Turtles. There's also Ghostbusters Funko Universe. So if you love the Ghostbusters and you love the adorable Funko collectibles, this is really a no-brainer. I mean, look at those pages. Alright, then we have another crossover, Star Trek and Green Lantern, Stranger Worlds, the final chapter, #6 of 6. It's also Transformers Lost Light and the X-Files. And then we get to AD After Death from Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire. This is their Image Comics release, book 3. We're sure it's worth the wait. And then there are plenty of other Image Comics releases. Before we move forward on them, Vic is right here.
Greg Katzman.
Victor Melendez. How's it going, man?
Guys, it's Greg Katzman. He's at Midtown right now. How's it going?
It's going well. So what have you had a chance to read from Image?
Image, I checked out Regression from Cullen Bunn this week. Man, this book is trippy. This book is really messed up. First thing that stands out, honestly, is the art. There's a lot of grotesque images. This poor guy is just having what he believes to be hallucinations. But basically, throughout the first issue, you realize that there's a little more to it than that. There's like a little reincarnation of possibly a serial killer in his head. So that's basically the gist of the first issue. I would definitely recommend it if you're a fan of horror comics. Cullen Bunn does a lot of them with Dark Horse, with Oni. If you're a fan of his Deadpool stuff, you can easily read this. The guy's a really good writer. Also, definitely picking this up. Stephen King's Creepshow adaptation. This is by far probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's much more in tone with Tales from the Crypt than the actual Tales from the Crypt movies. It's just a straight-up adaptation with art by the late Bernie Wrightson. And I've been actually waiting for this graphic novel since I was a kid. It wasn't available when I was growing up and only came out in the 80s, so they did a reprint. If you guys have never seen this movie's excellent. You got George Romero directing, written by Stephen King, who plays poor Jodie Verl, who gets caught up in some green stuff.
What's the cover price for this collection?
This collection it's only an $18, guys. This is not bad to spend on a classic piece of horror history right here. Regression's great. Creepshow is a great pick for myself. Rocket from Marvel, a lot of fun, guys. If you guys like Ocean's 11, you guys like heist, like themed stories, check out Rocket. I think you'd be really surprised by it.
Vic, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's take a look at some other Image Comics before we get to Marvel and talk to Matthew Rosenberg about his new series, Secret Warriors #1. There's Black Cloud at #1, Jason Latour, Ivan Brandon, a few covers right there. There's also Cannibal, the 5th issue of that, as well as Copperhead 13 and The Fix from Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber. There's also Green Valley, #8. And before we move forward, there's just 3 collections up here. There's James Bond Hammerhead, as well as the one that Vic just recommended, Stephen King's Creepshow, as well as the Ultimate Guide to the Amazon Warrior, a Wonder Woman hardcover. So if you're looking to celebrate Wonder Woman's 75th anniversary, want to get something signed on Wonder Woman Day, our announcements for that celebration are on the way. We promise they're going to be awesome. Don't want to say anything more than that. And then, yeah, let's take a look. There are some other collections up here. We have a new Faith collection from Valiant. We still have copies of Jeff Lemire's Roughneck. Everyone loves it over here. Vic gave it plenty of praise last week. There's also Casanova, Volume 2, as well as Insufferable, Star Trek The Next Generation Hive, and we get into Avengers. But before we get into Marvel, there's just a few more comics from Image that we want to give you a look at. Got a great variant here called Gwynvincible. There's also Lazarus. If you're a Greg Rucka fan, you should be reading this. Pick up the first volume. Then there's also Regression, which Vic was just talking about. So if that sounded interesting to you, these are the covers to look for when you make it to your comic shop. And there's also Renato Jones, Freelance #1. as well as Rock Candy Mountain, Chapter 2, Sons of the Devil, Issue 12, Throwaway, Issue 8, and I believe, we now have a sketch cover version of Youngblood, #1. And now we have finally made it to Marvel, and Matthew Rosenberg happens to be here, totally not a coincidence at all. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So, Secret Warriors #1, it's finally out today. How do you feel?
A little tired. Yeah. No, it's awesome. We've been working on the book for a while, and it's nice that it's out. And some people tweeted nice things at me this morning, so I feel a little less nervous.
Do you want to plug your Twitter handle?
Sure. It's Ashcan Press, ASHCANPRESS. So if you read it and like it or don't like it, you can tell me. That's fine. I'll take either.
Hopefully you like it. So for all the people out there watching who have no idea what Secret Warriors is, what's the basic pitch?
Secret Warriors was a great book by Jonathan Hickman and Stefano Caselli that was about sort of the spies of the Marvel Universe. It was Nick Fury and Quake and a bunch of people like that. They're S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Our Secret Warriors sort of picks up a thread from that. It's a lot of the younger Inhumans who don't have a place to go. They don't necessarily fit in anywhere right now. So it's Miss Marvel and Quake and Karnak, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and Inferno sort of thrust together in the dangerous, scary situation that is Secret Empire. And they are teaming up to kick as many Hydra people in the face as they can.
How many of them are secretly loyal to Hydra?
None. None. Zero
Right.
out of 6. 0 out of 6.
6, okay.
Yeah, they're very, very upset.
Okay. Now, obviously, it's a very big edition of New Comic Book Day, just like every other day.
Sure.
So the thought of adding another $3.99 comic to someone's pile is, that can make or break a decision for them because people are already, working with a limited budget. So what is it about Secret Warriors that should really motivate them to shell out the extra $4 and add that to their, their pull and give it a shot?
I think it's we're trying to tell a story that's a little different from everything else that's going on in the Marvel Universe. Like, these are characters who, it's a great cast. Miss Marvel and Quake and Moon Girl and Karnak and Inferno, like, they're all fan favorites. So if you like those books, hopefully we do them justice. But I think the real hook, besides Javier's art, Javier Garrón draws it, and it's one of the best looking books in Marvel, I think. But I think the draw is just getting a chance to see the underdogs really fight back and go for it. Right now, we're sort of the underdog book in Marvel in a lot of ways, and I like that. That's sort of a nice position to be in. So it's not necessarily going to be the feel-good book at Marvel, but it is going to be the book where you see a lot of the sort of characters that people underestimate.
So Secret Empire,
Yes.
I've been enjoying it. I think it's got a great creative team. It's understandably polarizing, though. It's talking about fascism. It's showing the pros and cons of fascism, and it's taking the person who has stood for, the physical representation of everything that America represents, and it's twisted him. And understandably, there's been mixed reactions on that. Do you care to share your thoughts on Secret Empire?
Yeah, obviously, I don't think it was anyone's intention to make anyone feel hurt, but it is supposed to be a challenging, upsetting story. It's about the way that we sacrifice some of our liberties for the ideas of safety and security, and that's a really troubling topic, obviously, in this day and age, and it's scary and it's upsetting, and I think, I don't want to speak for Nick or for Marvel or anyone, but they don't take that lightly. It's supposed to be upsetting, and it's supposed to be scary, and it's there's a whole plan and a whole story to challenge these ideas and to see how people who aren't the symbol of America can try and make things right. People can fight back against oppression and fascism and try and make things right. And obviously, for people who are upset, it's personally, I feel bad. I don't think the level of agitation is good ever, but There's a lot of other. There's a lot of stuff going to happen, and I hope people see it through if they're interested and are pulling for the good guys. I'm pulling for the good guys personally.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Secret Warriors. We're not on Cap's team. We're on the other team on this one. So.
Do you want to give any non-spoiler teasers about the series, about maybe any familiar faces who will appear? Because you have a group of good guys who are kind of underestimated, so they're going to be facing some pretty big odds. Cap has an army. Care to drop any teasers?
Yeah, you're going to see some of the bigger. Our team is going to run into some of the bigger faces. I don't want to say specifically who, but if you like, X-Men, you might see some of them.
Okay.
That's maybe a spoiler, but whatever.
No, I mean, the X-Men has a pretty big rogues gallery, so I'm taking that as Juggernaut, but we will see.
We'll see, yeah.
We will see. But in the meantime, would you like to walk us down the wall of Marvel releases and maybe talk about a few issues?
Sure. I mean, can I jump back a little bit? Two steps further back?
Of course.
There's two books I really like that aren't Marvel books this week.
Yeah, sure.
I really love Heathen. That came out this week. From Vault. It's just badass Lady Viking comics. It's a beautiful and really smart and really fun book. And I feel like enough people are missing it, but there's a new edition of it right there, so people should get that. I also love Rock Candy Mountain. It's one of the craziest, funniest, weirdest books on shelves by far. Kyle Starks is a mad genius. And, it's about a hobo war. And, that's great, yeah. So I'm a big fan of that. But on the Marvel stuff, I'm very excited about Black Panther and the Crew #2. Black Panther, the Black Panther books for a while have been some of the best books at Marvel. And Black Panther and the Crew, it's awesome to see Black Panther's team, the people around him. I'm a big fan of his collection of allies and friends. So this is a nice dive into that.
It features Luke Cage, Storm, Misty Knight.
Yeah. It's got. They're the best. It is weird that I call them Black Panther's team, but that's how they're positioned in the book.
It is called Black Panther and the Crew, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. They're his crew in this. In their books, he's in their crew, but in his book, they're in his crew. And then Rocket #1 by Al Ewing and Adam Gorham is one of the best books of the week, bar none. It's great. Rocket Raccoon, space heist, kind of beautiful art, funny writing. I just left Rocket Raccoon, the title that I was writing, so I'm handing it off to them, and I'm really happy with what they did. It goes in a different direction. So if you liked mine, I hope you'll pick theirs up, and if you didn't like mine, you should probably still pick theirs up because it's pretty different. But I really love that book, and hopefully people are grabbing it.
I'm going to be shameless for a moment. I see Deadpool 30 is here with a cover by Mike Hawthorne. I believe it's actually a wraparound cover. Yeah. And this is a mega-sized issue, and the reason I point that out is because Mike Hawthorne will be at 5 Points Festival, which is May 20th and May 21st, a Saturday and a Sunday, and he will be with you.
Yes.
The Marvel Dynamic Duo will be signing at the event. Also, there will be Dan Slott, Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, Brian Lee O'Malley, Nick Spencer. I do want to clarify, though, that Dan Slott and I have the mic on you while I'm talking. Human error. I do want to clarify that Dan Slott and Scott Snyder will be there Saturday only, but Matthew and Mike will be there Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we will. That's true.
So you can get tickets in-store or online. Sorry, back to you.
Oh, no, yeah, get tickets. Come hang out with me. I'm only signing for an hour a day. I think everyone's only signing for an hour, so come early. And then one more book I'd plug would be Kingpin, which I wrote, so I'm kind of a jerk for plugging it, but Kingpin #4. We have a fill-in artist, Miguel Sepulveda, who is awesome, and it's just Kingpin being creepy and sort of his plans this whole time that we've been unsure of are starting to reveal themselves. And I hope people check it out. I'm pretty proud of the book. It's kind of a big step away from anything I've ever done, and I think a lot of what's going on in Marvel, it's a slow burn crime noir, and it's definitely in the Marvel universe, but it is it's a different side of it, which is fun to show. And people should buy the Star Wars newspaper strips, the Russ Manning stuff, because that stuff is awesome.
When you're writing Kingpin, are you hearing Vincent's voice in your head from the Netflix series?
No, I like to imagine that Vincent and me are hearing Frank Miller's dialogue together. We draw from the same influence, I think. Although I love Vincent D'Onofrio in Kingpin in Daredevil. I call the show Kingpin. I loved him in it, and he's awesome. But I was raised on Frank Miller Daredevil, so that will always be my go-to for Kingpin.
And we are also having a signing with you tomorrow night to further celebrate Secret Warriors #1. That'll be at Midtown Comics downtown, which is located at 64 Fulton Street from 7 to 8. Definitely stop by, say hi, read the comic, let him know what you think. He's a very nice and open guy. If you have constructive criticism, let him know. If you loved it, let him know that as well, because that's the nice thing to do.
That's nice, yeah. But yeah, come down, hang out. If I wrote anything that you liked, get it signed. If I wrote anything you didn't like, you can get it signed and put it on eBay. It's totally cool. So come hang out. It's a nice store, the downtown store. It's very nice. It's a lot of good stuff.
So this week you have Secret Warriors and Kingpin, but you also have quite a bit of other work. 4 Kids Walking a Bank. Would you care to talk about your other work for a moment?
Sure, yeah. 4 Kids Walking a Bank are much delayed series, which is my fault. Issue 4 of 5 comes out next week, and it's the beginning of the end, and I'm pretty proud of it. If you haven't checked it out, it's sort of a weird comedy crime book about children who rob a bank. So if that seems appealing to you, pick it up. Buy it anyway. I don't really care if it seems appealing to you. And it's out on Black Mask, who are published my other book, We Can Never Go Home, which is in trade paperback somewhere over there. And they're a great publisher, and Tyler Boss, who draws the book, is definitely one of the best young artists in comics, like bar none. The stuff he's able to do. I talk to comic artists all the time who are like, man, I can't believe what Tyler's doing in that book. He's just absolutely killing it. And do I have other stuff coming out? The Archies, which I co-wrote with my buddy Alex Segura. We co-wrote Archie Meets the Ramones a couple months ago, so now we're doing The Archies, which is the origin story of the band The Archies in the Archie universe. Joe Eisma, who you may know from Morning Glories, and he just did a couple issues of the main Archie book. Joe drew it. And it's good.
Okay. So we'll end on a note about Secret Warriors. People often describe stuff they like as blank meets blank. How would you describe Secret Warriors?
I don't often do that with my own stuff, but Secret Warriors is, Inglourious Bastards meets The Goonies.
That's quite a pairing.
It's maybe a terrible, terrible description, but you put me on the spot, so I'll take it.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to all the people watching on Facebook Live about your work or comic books in general?
No, there's a lot of really good comics. You should come to the store and buy them.
Cool. Matt, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to go buy some books.
Enjoy. Thank you. All right, so we'll finish looking at all the Marvel stuff over here. There's a few new collections, actually. I believe we ended on Rocket. We maybe ended on Kingpin. There's also a second printing of Inhumans Prime, but there's a few other new collections from Marvel as well. There is Star Wars, an Epic Collection, The Rebellions. There's also Spider-Man, the Lifeline Tablet Saga. There's also The Amazing Spider-Man Worldwide, which is a Clone Conspiracy tie-in. And there's also the new Jessica Jones series, Volume 1. So if you'd like the character's Netflix show, and you already read Alias, if you haven't read Alias, go read Alias, obviously. But in the meantime, check this out. Brian Michael Bendis is back. And then there's also a Marvel Masterworks Doctor Strange edition. Then we also have a new Ms. Marvel 18. Secret Warriors #1, we have the hip-hop variant. There should be quite a few variants. I'm not sure if I see them in here. There's also an action figure. A few others, but here's the primary one by Trad Moore. Trad Moore will also be in the store a week or two from now to celebrate Venom 150. Then we also have Silver Surfer, Slot, and the Allreds. And then Peter David was recently in here to celebrate Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider #1. I'm not sure if any signed copies are still available online, but they're now at Times Square. They could also be at Grand Central and downtown. If you go to those shops, definitely call in advance. They can hold aside a copy for you. We also have the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. Great Stegman cover right there of Spider-Man clashing with Magneto. We also have the Amazing Spider-Man, number 27, as well as Star Wars Screaming Citadel, number 1. We have 2 covers right there. There's also Zombies Assemble, number 1. Weapon X, number 3. This is a brand new Weapon X roster featuring Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, Warpath, Domino, and Lady Deathstrike. And then we get to 2 of my favorite Marvel comics, All New Wolverine, number 20. This features X-Wing 3, so if you watched and loved Logan, which should be everyone who watched Logan, I can't imagine someone not loving that movie, you need to be reading this series written by the very talented Tom Taylor, and I believe Leonard Kirk hopped on artwork for this one. And then there's also Old Man Logan Past Lives is essentially revisiting Logan's history. It's a lot of fun. It has great artwork as well, and it's written by the incredibly creative Jeff Lemire. There's also X-Men Blue, number 3, written by Cullen Bunn. I know Vic was giving Bunn a lot of love before. If you're looking for some of his work with mutants, check out X-Men Blue, number 3. And if you missed out on X-Men Prime, you're not sure what's going on with Resurrection, number 1. It's a second printing. There's also Inhumans Prime. There's also X-Men Gold, a second printing of that. And I won't elaborate any further on that one. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoy New Comic Book Day and reading a bunch of new issues. Be good to each other. Support the comics you love. And check out Secret Into Warriors number 1. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, wait a second. Victor Melendez wants a last-minute chime in. Come over here, man. What's up?
You gotta read Secret Warriors number 1. It takes place in Mount Haven, the Bronx. That's more or less where I live. All right?
Okay.
All right? No, you guys gotta read this. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's loop in Matthew Rosenberg again for this new development on Secret Warriors. Do you guys want to talk about it for a minute? The location?
The first part takes place in the Bronx. You don't really see that often. Like, obviously Marvel takes place in New York. That's the basis. Like, everybody knows that. But it's not often you get the heroes going up that far uptown. And I'm sorry. I mean, I've lived there my whole life, so this is awesome. And I'm definitely going to read this because I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm from New York, so I live in Harlem, so I can see the Bronx from my house, which sounds weird, but I can. So, yeah, I don't want to just see the Marvel Universe take place from 50th Street to 30th Street. I like it being other places. So part of it's in the Bronx, part of it's in New Jersey.
Nice. All right. Yo, I'm going to be reading this. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be reading this.
That was a great way to end it. Secret Warriors number 1, available now. Give it a shot. And don't forget to follow Matt on Twitter at AshcanPress. Let him know what you think about it. Be nice, though. Don't be a jerk about it. If you don't like it, be constructive about your criticism, people. Be good to each other. Treat each other with respect. And enjoy reading new comics. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.